Yeah, think of a function. Think of the word. If I say that something functions, what's another way of saying that? It works, right? And basically, a function is an equation that answers a question for you clearly, right? If I asked you, if you went to your employer and said, how much money am I going to make if I work 20 hours? You would expect one answer, right? You don't expect two answers, right? A function is like that. It gives you one clear answer for every value that you put in for x. Okay. You've seen this represented in different forms in the past. And I'm going to review some of these, but we're not going to do anything with it. Until we get to see the first example that it gets to, these are just to connect you with what you might have done before. You might see a set of points and be asked if it's a function, right? Do you remember, what do you look for to tell whether it's a function or not? 2x is the same, right? So, for example, here, the x's are all 1, which means if I said, what's the value of y that goes along with x equals 1, you'd have 4 different answers. That is not a function, right? Right. The first set of ordered pairs is a function because the x values don't repeat, right? So this is a function. We okay? Kind of cold? I'm kind of hot. Okay, these are mapping diagrams, right? In a mapping diagram, you're mapping x values in the domain to y values in the range, right? What do you look for that would tell you it's not a function? You should not have 2 arrows coming from the same x value. Again, that would be saying like which y value goes with x equals 2, and you have 2 answers, 3 and 5. So when you see 2 arrows coming from the same x value in the domain, not a function. Okay, there's no problem with this one because there's no value that has 2 arrows coming from it, so that's a function. Okay? What if you have a graph which is like an infinite set of ordered pairs? What's the check that we do to see whether or not you do a vertical line test? Can you imagine in the graph on the left, could you imagine drawing a vertical line and having it cross the graph in 2 places? No. So it passes the vertical line test. That is a function. Okay, what about the parabola on the right? You could imagine drawing a vertical line and intersecting at more than 1 point, anywhere greater than x equals 0. So because it intersects at 2 places, right, not a function.